6:30, close enough. Join me in saluting the flag, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we're meeting tonight at the request of Attorney
Stan Alford.
Stan Whitmore. So I suspect it's your meeting, kick it off if you'd like.
I don't think I've ever been called this quick.
This is-
May I pull the chair up?
Sure.
I'm a lot more comfortable when I'm leaning on something.
Does everyone know everyone for this meeting? Introduced earlier, right? Our attorney?
What was our attorney's name?
Ms. Laura Spector Morgan.
Well done.
And Brian Robichaud, Bill Nelson, and I'm Rich Sacker. Jessica Robichaud is our assistant. Okay.
Well, first of all, I asked actually Laura if I could meet with you guys actually out, and I kind of knew the answer anyway when I asked it. This is more an informal, preliminary type of meeting. Wanted to let you know where our heads are at, maybe get a feel from you guys. First of all, I sent out letters to all the residents, and that included everybody on the lower portion and on the upper portion, and asked for their feedback. I got several letters back, and a number of phone calls.
Thank you.
All in support of keeping the road where it is. I got no calls, messages, or any other communication in a negative way or against the, or in favor of the road being moved.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Do you have a copy of the letter you sent out?
What's that?
Do you have a copy of the letter you sent out, or do you have that?
I believe that went to us also, correct?
Yeah, I think
I know
so.
we did get a letter.
Okay, then I'm good. I get it.
Right. I'm not going to tonight at all get into the legalities or what our legal position is on various issues. I think our position, the practical position is that if we can solve the problem, and this is a problem, it's a problem for the town, it's a problem for the residents, but it's a problem. If we can solve this problem with the least amount of headache and expense and so on, then I think we've all done our jobs. I think that the way to solve this problem is if all the residents, and I mean all, the affected residents on that street want the street to stay the same, then I think that could be worked out on a legal way with documents, either a boundary line agreement or some sort of a reciprocating easement, almost like the easement that was worked out with the person that owns that well that actually is on town property. It's a little complicated, but I think that that's workable. But we're not even at that stage yet. What I was going to suggest and what I'd like to do, and let you know that this is what I want to do, is actually go and physically meet each resident and have a piece of paper in my hand that says I'm in favor of the road staying the same, and I will execute whatever documents are necessary to carry that out. If I can get all of those, then we could actually have a meeting that's scheduled where the residents of the town would probably come and have an opportunity to either, to put whatever their 2 cents are in it. But I think if the residents on the street are willing to do that, and that's not going to be that easy. I'm not assuming that everybody's on the same page here. There may be one or two that say, no, I want to see the road moved. And then, of course, we would have to confer as to what our position would be in that. But I've asked in looking at where we want to go here, I'd asked Laura if she would talk to you guys about at least holding off doing any work until I've gone through that process. And she did talk to you guys, I guess, and I did get that assurance. So as we sit right now, I don't believe there's anything scheduled to be done and isn't going to be done until hopefully I can take care of this. As far as the time frame, what I'm proposing is probably at the outside 2 months. If you want a shorter period, then we'll do a shorter period. Obviously, if I'm not successful in getting agreements from people, then you'll want to know, and then we're going to have to decide what our respective positions will be after that is known. But I think 2 months is probably good because people do go on vacations. And I'm going to be knocking on doors personally. And I would probably give them the courtesy of a phone call first, and then stop by to talk to them. And sometimes it might take 2 or 3 stops before I know exactly what the position will be. That's where we're at.
I guess we should tell you, we received a letter from one of the residents asking to have the road moved off their property.
Okay. Could I ask which one that was, so I don't waste my time? Is it possible to get a copy of that letter?
Sure.
Yes.
Sure, sure.
That'd be great.
Yes, we'll get you a copy.
I imagine I'll still be talking with the person.
Yeah, we just wanted to tell you that.
I try to, cover all bases and give everybody a,
I think it's handwritten.
It's handwritten, yeah.
Yeah,
maybe mail to me.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, oh, I guess we'll, I tried to get the folders out,
yeah, I
so.
don't need it right now. Well, that is that's definitely a major issue. Because in order for this to go, I mean, if one of the residents contest it, it's my opinion, I think we'll probably agree that town is almost bound. And then, of course, we would have to take our position, whether we want to go forward and litigate the issue. And never know, I might be able to convince this person that it might not be a bad idea to do it. I don't know.
Understand?
I think the 2 months is fair. I don't think we're going to get it done in 2 months. We have lots going on, but the idea is that we need to address it. Because it's their properties, they have rights, but by the same stretch of, we can work this out as best as possible. It's in everyone's interest.
Do you have your meetings already scheduled for, say, 2 months from now?
Yes.
Yeah, we do,
Second and fourth.
we
Maybe
have,
the first one in July?
yeah, that's going to be July 8th.
Yeah.
It's the second Tuesday.
Second Tuesday would be the 8th, right?
This may seem like a dumb question, but I mean, I assume when you go to talk to people that you're going to be saying you represent whom?
I'm going to say I represent Mark Stengel, and that I've talked to a number of other.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. One thing I'm kind of known for, I've been doing this a long time, is I'm straightforward. It's just like admitting to you guys that what your position probably would be if things don't work out. The best way to handle a situation like this is upfront and straight on. And as far as costs, moving to another thing, as far as cost, if everybody was in agreement, I did talk to Brian Berlin this afternoon, and I asked him flat out what it would be to be able to do a plan, actually an overlay plan, where we show the road as it is and as it should be, or arguably should be, and actually have a plan that could be recorded. One thing I did notice, and now we're getting down that legal avenue, but one thing that you folks haven't done as of yet. You've discussed this, but there hasn't been an actual adoption of Brian Berlin's work.
Who is Brian Berlin?
He's the surveyor that was called on to,
He did the staking.
to locate the center line of the road. He did, and he actually marked it. And then, as I understand it, the road agent, your road agent actually went out and put stakes up, which are still visible. Some of them are missing though. I rode the road today and,
Yeah, we know some
yeah,
away.
but, you know, that's to be expected.
Sure.
But Brian, one of the things that I think, when an issue was raised or a question was raised regarding this, it probably would have been a good idea from a legal standpoint to actually have had a report from Brian and then make some sort of a ruling on or adoption of his report. Because as it is right now, you haven't really formally adopted his findings. His findings were the original layout. But I think because questions have been raised, you probably need a little bit more than that. I hate to see the town spend the money, though, unless it's necessary. So I wouldn't be, just my opinion, and obviously you have an attorney, but I won't run right out and get a survey and I ask Brian to write up a big report that you pay, money for. I don't think that's necessary at this point, but I think it will be at some point if we can't get something worked out.
Okay.
And did you say you talked to him about what a survey would cost?
Yeah, and it was roughly $600.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was in the car on his cell phone. He said, well, I really would like to look at my file. And I said, Brian, you can tell me, give me a ballpark. And he said, I've known Brian for a lot of years. It's probably the best that I've ever known. So,
Okay.
that's in the town's favor, for sure. But anyway, that's where we're at. So, second Tuesday in July.
Okay, sounds good.
Is that all right with you? Are there any things you'd like to bring up or say? Okay. Appreciate your time.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Now, just one more quick thing. If by any chance I get to the end of my road, and I've talked to everybody and I know where we're at, I'll definitely get a hold of you or your attorney before July.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because, the last thing we want to do is waste time.
Sure.
Do it sooner.
Very nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
Yep. You excused?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, how you doing? Good.
Eddie,
Yeah, nice to meet you.
nice to meet you.
One of these
I
days.
guess
I'll-
one
well, I
question
see you
I-
all the time.
Yeah.
I've never met.
I guess one question I would have is,
Everybody,
if we have to spend money to certify the report, should we go all the way and certify all the boundaries on all the roads? All, including all the dirt roads that we haven't touched yet? Go in there and do it once. Something to think about.
But I think that's a decision you can make right now, yeah.
that'd be a decision you'd have to make if you're gonna do upgrades to any road. Because I know Lyford Road is next to be
Yeah,
done, something
repaving.
done. You'd have to do that to that road before you could.
Well, that road's pretty, well, in my
Well,
opinion,
you don't, in your opinion, but of course, in your opinion, so wasn't Price Drive.
it was, Lyford Road is between rock walls,
Mm,
and the rock walls define the right-of-way.
All right.
We don't
And
have
I
that.
think the town can operate on the assumption that the roads are where they're supposed to be unless someone raises an issue questioning that or unless something comes to your attention that will question that.
Well, that's what Price Drive was that way. too.
Yes.
So then we have Palmer and we have Pine. Maybe we should look at those, just something to consider. Find out where all the roads belong.
You don't want to know.
That one's gonna cost you a hell of a lot more.
If you're gonna spend money.
What is the plan for Bryce Drive?
The
Has
plan,
there been one thus far to
the
move
plan
the
for
road?
Bryce Drive was to repave it.
Okay.
And just like we surveyed the other portion before we paved it,
Mhm.
there was some questions raised as to where the pavement is with respect to the right-of-way.
Right.
So before we put any money in it, we thought it'd be good to keep it on town property. And that's where we are.
So if we were to move the road, we would then pave it, and then this would be a done issue.
Right, they would be, could call it a temporary fix of the jog in the road that's at issue here. It would be a cut and move without doing the whole road. The remainder of Bryce is on the schedule to get done. I think it's 2 or 3 years down the road. But I think, you know, if and when we decide to fix that, it's gonna be more of a cut it, move it, we may just gravel just for the sake of getting that pavement off in the near future. But obviously, we're, you know, gonna at least table that for a month or two.
But the plan is to rework the road because you see it's starting to come apart.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like it would make sense to gravel it and leave it for 2 or 3 years either.
Well, to decide.
Yeah, because to get a paving contractor there for a little chunk like that, it would almost be like you'd have to get like a driveway paving contractor over there. So to cut it and move it, and then gravel and then roll it, it's possible. It would be a small section. It wouldn't be the whole thing, it would just be that one little part where we'd have to get the actual pavement off.
So you were thinking you'd pave the section, you wouldn't pave any of it at that point?
No, that's a couple years in the road. That's one of our projects that we've got on our schedule, but to finish up all of Rice Drive, it's on the schedule but not eminent.
So that's why it got patched.
That's why I got patched, because we wanted to get rid of those potholes, because it's definitely not happening in this year. We're doing Lightford this year, and then
But wasn't it scheduled last year to get done?
it was scheduled last year, but the site work got far more expensive, and when we ran into all the trouble, the amount we had scheduled for that got absorbed in the first half.
So we have nothing left to do that.
We have money, but it's more or less a prioritization, and with this issue, we've also been able to at least couch it for now with the idea that we need to address it, and that's what we're trying to do.
You know, I'm concerned only because part of my land will be affected by that. And I know Mark's part of his is affected by it too.
Just so I know, whereabouts are you? Because
I'm the third house down.
okay, all right.
Not a lot of my land, but part of my land.
Yes.
Are you adjacent to Mark?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Because that's where the problem really starts, and then
Right at the beginning,
road,
at the
Yeah.
end of my lot, I should
right,
say.
yeah, I can see that.
And my concern is if something, you know, if I want to sell or whatever else, in order to do that, I want to make sure that it's free and clear in my deed so that I don't have an issue later on. Or if I die and my kids want to sell the house or that type of thing, that's my biggest concern.
That's right.
Would it not make sense to hold off on moving the road project until you were at a point where you could move and pave at the same time?
I think since our pavement is on private property, it really is up to that property owner whether or not they'll allow us to keep it there. They've asked us to move it. And by rights, they have a right to say, get that off. So we're, you know, while it's not the most practical solution, if we can't do the whole road at once, it's a solution that we may have to just undertake just to satisfy them.
Yeah, I was just thinking if everybody could agree to do it, but you say, okay, well, we're gonna schedule this for 2 years from now, and we can appropriate the money to do it all rather than
I guess.
piecemeal it.
Trust
And
me.
worry about damaging what you fixed in the meantime, you
Yeah.
know, with the plows or whatever.
Right, right.
Yes, sir.
What do you have scheduled for next year?
I have to look at the schedule. I know we got Lightford and then
Another section still?
This year is the big year.
Yeah, I know, next year's a small.
Next year, we're going to pick up a small road.
I just can't remember the roads. I was sitting in my head trying to go over and I didn't even ask.
Next year is the rest of Moose Mountains,
Okay, all right.
up through the rec area to the bottom of the hill that goes up to my
That's right.
house.
And then it's Bryce after that, right?
And then Bryson, 16.
And how much do we think each was going to cost?
I'll just get it. I'll
I didn't grab my folder, I answered them all.
But if they're the same cost.
We could flip them.
That's right.
Yeah.
How much was Bryce gonna cost?
Bryce
Well, how much
and
Bryce
Moose Mountain.
compared to Moose?
Our planning numbers.
Moose was, total project was 74,832, and Bryce was 32,242.
So well, how many people does it affect on Moose as opposed to effects on Bryce Drive? Would you be better off doing Bryce Drive next year and then, because it's obviously affects a lot more people. There's not that many, from the beginning of Moose Mountain up to the hill and his house,
Well, we take a look at that early next year.
I would think that it would affect more people on Bryce Drive.
Given the numbers the way they are, you do have some flexibility.
Right.
They're both, but we'd make that call next year.
Well, the road's not on anybody's land up on Moose Mountain Road, so.
That's right.
That is true.
It's just, we try to prioritize based on the need of the road. Moose, definitely needs some work. Bryce, without a doubt, needs some work, so, yeah.
Stone Road definitely needs some work.
Stone really needs, but that's.
Plenty of opportunities.
But Stone is the
Stone,
biggest.
I would think it's the worst road.
Yeah, but it's the biggest project too, so it's one of these things that we try to earmark the budget in order to keep the trust account full in order to pay for it, and so that's why they're stacked in the order that they were and by need. Yeah.
But sometimes you have to change things.
I got you, trust me. It's-
Especially if you have kids, you know that.
No, it's one of those things we very well might have to move Bryce around, and we can definitely do it.
The issue with the well that the lawyer brought up is
Uh-huh.
totally not relevant in that case because we're across from the well, but we didn't have property. You know, the road wasn't on our property, so there wasn't a problem with moving it.
Right.
Whereas he's like, there's an easement for the well, that's not even really relevant, just so you know, in case.
Yeah, I think he was used as a point of reference that the situations are workable. And okay, that was a prime example, the well.
Right,
was
well, the
on-
well is on the town's property.
The well's on the
Whereas the
town's-
town's on private property now,
Right.
so it's
Yes.
a whole different can of worms there.
I get you.
I just want to make sure that
Oh, yeah, no.
you guys caught that, that the well wasn't.
Yes, nice piece of history.
Did you ever find the photographs?
I did have some photos, they didn't show a whole lot, but,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, is there anything else?
That's it.
Then I think we'd just like to move on to one other topic, and that's some other road work. You want to do that tonight?
I think you should.
So,
Can you stay?
no, we do not this year.
Even better.
Get the safe trip home. Get the safe trip home.
Thank you. Good to see everyone.
Thanks, Laura.
Nice seeing you. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming up. Ed has the estimates for Lightfoot Road work.
Oh, yeah.
And if we can get that moving, we can get that job done earlier this year than later. Yes.
Just, what was it, the last minute?
You're right.
Yes, yeah, thank you.
It's straight out loud, so you can watch it even. It's in the volume.
Yeah, you gonna point out how close the estimate was?
No.
I'll do it then.
No, I don't do that.
All right, I'll do it
Give
for
it,
you.
give it to Brian, he'll say, well, look at the
Okay,
numbers.
yeah, see, I'll highlight what. There you go.
So what are you giving us, Ed? You're giving us the estimate?
That's the
from-
estimate to have Lyford Road ground up. And the cost, and in that is also, they would supply the gravel. The last time this company worked for us in town, they supplied the gravel at the cheapest rate. So we included that, and then repaving.
From Clark to the top of the hill, where
The intersection at Clark.
Past Jim Whitmore's house, right?
Up in the, wherever
Just,
it, where
yeah,
it
just
is.
at the crest, where we,
Right, where
several years ago, we took this,
stand.
that big crank out of there. Yeah, that, all that pavement's gonna stay.
Do you plan on doing any drainage work? Because that's my biggest problem.
Up there, there won't be an issue. Those ditches are fine, but the road is doing this.
Okay.
And that's why this project got put on the list next, because although it rides, when you ride up those grooves, it seems somewhat smooth. But when you put a straight edge plow across it, it's leaving so much snow in the road, and then the water, as it melts and in the rain, the water doesn't go into the ditches, it stays in the wheel ruts. So when this is all said and done, the center of the road will be higher, everything will be run into the ditches, and the
But it's not really ditched on both sides.
Yeah, it is.
Not by her
Not
house.
There's no ditch there.
I don't know where-
Third up on the right, 112.
Across from
And
Highland.
as you go up the road, I'm a yellow ranch,
Okay.
a two-car garage, and just past me going up the hill, there seems to be no ditching on that side of the road, because my problem is all the sand's washing down the road into my driveway.
We went through there two or 3 years ago, and I mean, I can't imagine it's filled in that much. I'd have to go look at it, but
Yeah.
I would blame it on the road right now itself, because the water can't get to the ditch. Because any water that comes from the center of the road in an area where the center might be higher, there's still wheel ruts that run right up that road. And that's part of how we came across with Bryce as opposed to Moose. I mean, Moose as opposed to Bryce is because Moose, the last time we did traffic counts, it was the second busiest road in town.
Moose was?
Yeah. And now
Like, it's gotta be the first.
yes, like it was the first, but at that time, it wasn't by much. And I suspect if we were to do it again, Moose would be busier because of the tubing area.
But you guys are just talking about going from the tubing area up.
Just the last section of it, it's the same material that is in the remainder of Bryce Drive. It's that, what they call it, it's an oil mix that doesn't hold up well and that sort of thing.
So we got the quote from FR Carroll Inc. out of Limerick, Maine. Okay, so FR Carroll's pleased to quote, reclaim the paving project on Lyford Road, reclaim and roll 2,580 feet by 21 feet wide, total 6,020 square feet, square yards, at 1 foot per square yard will equal $6,020. Fine grading after gravel added, 55 cents per square yard, 3,311. Paid back 3 inches of fine base, approximately 950 tons, at $69.44 per ton, would be $65,968. Reclaim, fine grade and paving comes to a total of $75,299. Once again, I'd just like to point out that we estimated $73,320 for the paving cost, so we were pretty close. Actually, Eddie was I'd say really close. Price for 700 cubic yards of 1.5, is it an inch and a half, or?
It's an inch and a half.
Okay.
Inch and a half gravel, not an inch and a half thick.
Okay.
It's not an inch and a half gravel.
All right, so gravel at $15 per cubic yard, $10,500. So do the math there, it's roughly 85, call it $85,800 for all that.
And we budgeted, what, 95?
We budgeted 94 to 24.
And the reason for that is back to your original question, if there is ditching work that needs to be done in front of your house, that's what the remainder of that money is for. It'll be, when it's done, it'll be proper.
Question for you.
Yep.
We've had issues before down by Ron Fountain's corner around water running into Ron Fountain's property. How will that be affected by all this?
I don't think it's been a problem for a while because the state has created a swale. Even though I believe, and I've been talking with the state, their responsibility goes to the southeastern side of that intersection. But they created a paved swale all the way up through, so it's catching the water and nothing goes down his driveway anymore.
And the only other comment I can make is some of the swales are pretty deep. Are they gonna stay that deep, or is that what they?
No, so I understand what you're saying, swales.
I'm sorry, some of the ditches on the side of the road seem to be pretty deep.
Yeah, in some places, that'll be what they'll stay, because when you don't need anything particular, you just need it to contain a volume of water. But when it comes to a driveway, if they have a culvert, now there has to be a certain amount of fill on top of the culvert to keep it from popping up from its frost. So the ditch goes down to line up with the culvert, and then it stays at that level and runs level or slightly pitched down until it comes to the proper depth again as it goes down like that. So in areas it'll appear deep, but it's what's necessary. And it's not, I don't believe any of those ditches are deep enough to cause severe damage if a car slid off the road. It's nothing we have to worry about in that respect.
Okay. Any other Comments, Bill, Brian?
We just gotta sign this quote.
Yeah, I just would like to get moving on it.
I'm with you. So we get the stuff done about it.
How long was the project take?
Um,
Thing from a traffic point of view, so a letter or some note or something we can tell the residents that between such and such a date.
I would have to talk with him for scheduling because it's 3 different phases. It's the grinding, it's some prep work, some grinding, although I think, if I remember correctly, everything on that road, the prep work only has to be done prior to paving, so they could come and grind before I did anything. But you have grinding, then you have graveling, and then you have paving.
Well, I think once we get some schedules, we owe the people
Yeah.
a letter
Right.
to tell them what's going on the road.
Yep.
Right?
And then some kind of signs that people take a shortcut. to-
I will be posting my big orange pieces of plywood with no through traffic between those dates. And I'll do it in blocks. I won't do it from when we start grinding to when we're paving. I'll do it, we're gonna grind, these 2 days, no through traffic. And then because our best roads that have essentially been doing the reclaiming, the grinding and adding gravel, the best ones are holding up are the ones we let some traffic beat on them. Because even though there's a 20-ton roller that comes behind the grinding machine, and then as I lay out the gravel with the grader, and the best you can do is to have vehicles run on it, rather, even better than a roller. Just let the traffic pound it for a while. So there is a little slight inconvenience, but it'll be like a gravel road, and let it pound. So that they should, my opinion would be, grind it, compact it right out of the grinder, is what we've always done, and then you let the traffic beat on that for a while. And then we add the gravel, we grade that out and let the traffic beat on it for a while, and then they come and do their final grading, and compact that, and then they pave.
Is that really dusty in the meantime?
Well, we have dust control.
We'll have to give out some car wash coupons or something.
Well, that's all part of the mechanics of getting a good road is you want to keep it moist anyways, because that's how you get your compaction.
Yeah, it's less about probably the residents in that case than it is the through traffic. The through traffic's crazy.
Yeah. So we'll put, a week before we're gonna do it, we'll put a sign up saying, these dates, there'll be no through traffic. And I pretty much, except for I didn't realize you lived there, but I know most everybody on the road. And I don't have a problem with making them wait until we, because that grinding, it's slow, it's, when they do the center section
Noisy.
especially. Oh yeah, it'll be noisy.
But I think we should give them a letter. Right?
Yeah.
Official
Oh, I
letter.
think we learned that from Bryce Drive. that People
I
just
think
like
any letter that you send will be helpful.
There you go.
Yep.
We heard that last year, I think.
Yeah, I think you heard that loud and clear, didn't you?
Live and learn.
Okay. Motion to do this?
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept that contract, that bid, proposal, whatever it's called, and proceed forward.
Second one.
All in favor? Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Excellent. Did you sign it?
Yep. Choose
I'll
two.
copy that.
Anything else for tonight? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.